I'm making this video to apologize because I lied.
Him posting about on his Instagram, bro, come on, get out of here.
I was offered tens of thousands of dollars to promote an AI calorie tracking app.
Damn.
This is not a good one either.
Honestly, this topic isn't something I ever planned on covering. But lately, some of the stuff I've seen is just so shady, so blatantly deceptive that I can't ignore anymore. I was able to brush off a lot of this in the past, but one thing in particular finally pushed me over the edge and made me need to talk about this here. So, today, I'm taking a deep dive into the lies, the scams, and the manipulation that's been slowly infecting the fitness industry for the better part of a decade. Before we begin, let me give you a quick history lesson to help you understand how we got to where we are today. Fitness, of course, is something that has been around for far longer than the internet has. But even in the relatively short lifespan it's had in the online space, we've seen the fitness world go through some major transformations. For context and simplicity's sake, I'm going to be breaking this down into 3 basic eras in modern culture. And the first is what I'm calling the Golden Age. This era spans from the early roots of fitness all the way up to the late 1990s and mid-2000s. Obviously, a lot of changes have happened in the thousands of years that preceded the 20th century. However, since we're focusing on online fitness, this is where our real story begins. Before this point, most fitness media came in the form of home workout tapes or infomercials. But the fitness industry experienced a major shift when bodybuilding began making its way into pop culture. In the 1950s, bodybuilding started to gradually gain momentum, but it experienced an explosion in popularity in the 80s and 90s, largely thanks to Hollywood, that pushed it into the mainstream. This is the era of increasingly jacked action stars, and no one was bigger, literally or figuratively, than 7-time Mr. Olympia winner Arnold Schwarzenegger. The crossover between his movie stardom and continued success in bodybuilding drew in a ton of new people. And then came Pumping Iron in 1977. That documentary didn't just showcase the sport, it dramatized it, mythologized it, and sold the lifestyle to a whole new generation.
Can you believe how much I am in heaven? I'm like getting the feeling of coming in the gym, so I'm coming day and night.
By the time the internet started creeping into people's lives, a fitness culture was already firmly in place. But what came next changed everything. The Zyzz Days. From roughly 2007 to 2014, the internet began to seep into every aspect of entertainment, including fitness. And with it came something new: the ability for the average person to contribute their own media to the fitness world. For the first time, fitness wasn't just consumed, it was created and shared on a large scale. Forums like bodybuilding.com and early YouTube channels let users directly build an entirely new online culture. It had its own inside jokes,
Are you fucking lying, bro?
and more importantly, its own priorities. The previous obsession with mass gave way to a new goal: aesthetics. Getting as big as possible was out, and looking symmetrical, lean, and shredded was in. And out of that culture, a new kind of idol was born. Not a movie star, not an IFBB pro, but a guy from a forum who danced, mogged, and later became a legend. This was Zyzz.
That's what the revolution is, bro. None of these fucking sad cunts. We're all gonna fucking make it, bro.
Zyzz wasn't the strongest or the most accomplished lifter, but he was one of the most influential figures for a whole generation of young men online. He made lifting truly feel like a lifestyle, a movement, and a rebellion all at the same time. He built a mythos around himself that people are still clinging to over a decade later, but this era also reveals something darker. Zyzz sadly passed away in 2011 due to an undiagnosed heart condition, and this event contributed to the widescale discussion of the dangers of PED and drug use. Zyzz himself publicly denied the use of steroids, but at this point, many have accepted that not only was this probably untrue, but it's very likely that this exacerbated his heart condition. And this leads us to something much more dangerous that sadly has become commonplace in the industry: deception. No one wanted to admit that they were enhanced.
Deny, 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 right?
The still relevant natty or not debate became a joke, and dishonesty started to infect the entire fitness sphere, leading us to where we are today. The influencer boom, 2015 to present. I'm not going to say this era ruined the industry, because there are still great people doing great work in it, but something drastic and honestly inevitable happened. Something that could be summed up in one sentence: people realized they can make money. YouTube was exploding, And weirdly enough, fitness channels started to grow alongside prank channels and lifestyle vloggers. I'm not touching that today, but just know it got weird. This shift nudged the focus once again from aesthetics to entertainment. It wasn't about looking your best anymore. It was about being funny, relatable, and especially clickable. From there, everything coasted along until we hit another big event. But this wasn't just for the fitness world, rather the wider one, the pandemic. Locked inside their houses, people began to desperately find ways to preoccupy themselves. In an increasingly health-conscious environment, they naturally found their way to the fitness sphere. This was a perfect storm, because this coincided with the meteoric rise of TikTok, where anybody and everybody could make a fitness account. Now, anyone could post a workout, sell a program, or claim expert status. The barrier to entry disappeared overnight. This created the perfect storm. Human nature craves fast results, and suddenly there were millions of creators ready to sell them to people. Supplements, cookie cutter coaching, discount codes, abs in 5 minutes. We'd seen stuff like this before, but now it had become much more personal. These were real people right in front of you, acting like they were your friend and forming parasocial relationships. And this is when the rot really set in. Fake natties became the norm. Programs were recycled junk. Affiliate links got shoved in your face. It stopped being about fitness and it started being about clout. Fitness became a product, not a passion. Entertainment and money came first, and truth and credibility came second, if at all. And this leads us to where we are today, with the 3 main issues I want to discuss. Liars. The most obvious liars in the industry are the fake natties. Unfortunately, you can almost never tell with 100% certainty who's on gear or not, because some people really are genetic freaks. And you might say, well, that sucks, but what's actually the harm of this? Well, to me, this isn't only a character issue, but this has serious ramifications on the health, finances, and the mental well-being of anybody that follows these people. If you open the comments of anybody with an impressive physique, I'm sure you'll find at least one person saying something along the lines of, trying to get like you, man. People look up to these influencers, and the ones who lie about gear usage promote something that is not realistic or attainable for the average person. This delusion can lead to serious body dysmorphia and eating disorders as a result. And these issues can be lifelong battles that impact the health of people who fall victim to this lie. Another concern with the desperation to achieve the results of fake natties is that people are more likely to buy whatever supplement or snake oil that these people are promoting to them. There are people marking up creatine 3 times the retail price of another source and peddling it as some miracle supplement, and people are bound to waste money on it because they're hopeful and they trust the person. Lastly, people that are potentially already doing both of the things I just mentioned are likely going to develop some serious self-esteem issues and think that something might be wrong with them because they don't have the right genetics or aren't working hard enough. The unreasonable expectations that these lies create are already affecting a young generation that has trouble discerning what's real and isn't real. And we haven't even seen how this is going to progress in the future because the problem is still so new. Scammers. There are a million ways people get scammed in this industry. Cookie cutter programs, useless supplements, fake transformations, you get the idea. But there's one new trend that I've been seeing that pushed me to finally make this video. AI. Noel Dazel, a guy widely respected for being honest and upfront about things like steroids use, posted a video about a sponsorship offer he got from an AI calorie tracker app.
I was offered tens of thousands of dollars to promote an AI calorie tracking app. And this is why I said no. First of all, no one can convince me that AI can look at a picture of my food and tell me the macros accurately. How could anything know whether this is 20% fat or 5% fat? This 20% fat is 440 more calories than the 7%. And that major difference can be the line between losing or gaining weight. The problem is a lot of beginners may not know this. Then they'll use the tool, not see results, get discouraged, and quit.
This is something I'd seen other influencers promote before, and honestly, I never gave it a second thought. But what Noel said made me realize just how predatory this kind of tech can be. He breaks down how inaccurate these apps are and how easy it is for people to put blind trust in them. And that's where the real damage starts. People could start blaming themselves when they're not seeing results, when in reality, the app was wrong the entire time. Let's say the app is just 50 calories off per day. No big deal, right? It's not a big amount. Well, over a month, that's 1,550 calories you're miscounting. That's an entire week's worth of progress potentially gone. just because you believe in the ad of the person who told you to use the program. And it doesn't stop there. There are dozens of AI fitness apps that are flooding the market right now. They promise custom meal plans, workouts, celebrity-style transformations. But the truth is, they're selling an illusion. These apps lack the most important element of coaching: individualization. They're one-size-fits-all, built for scalability and not sustainability. And they prey on the insecurity and impatience that this industry thrives on. Worse yet, many of these transformation examples that the apps tote are people on PEDs. So, not only is the advice bad, the standard being sold is impossible to reach.
What I don't like about Chris, especially, is that he's selling this app, where here it looks natural, by the way. That's perfectly attainable. Train, eat, and live better with Chris Hemsworth's team. Like, what? I gotta pay monthly to get his workout routine? Like, get the fuck out of here. But the whole selling point is, they want to look like Chris.
Now, to be clear, I'm not here to fearmonger about AI. I think AI has real potential to improve fitness accessibility and education. But at best, in its current state, for things like this, the tech just is not there. And at worst, the marketing is blatantly dishonest and predatory. In the case of the calorie tracker app, it's not just about what the tech is, it's the way it's being sold to people. A tiny disclaimer at the bottom of the screen of an official ad, oftentimes this isn't even included when it's people shilling it, is not going to cut it when people are building their lives around this data potentially. Just read the reviews. You will see hundreds of people who came in hopeful, paid for the now standard monthly subscription, and left disappointed when the app didn't deliver what they were promised. Frauds. Lastly, I want to talk about the manufactured personalities in fraudulent videos and situations that frequently invade the fitness space. Let's start with the fake gym creep videos. These are some of the most shameless examples of people exploiting real issues for views. These videos are staged to make the creator look like a victim or a hero, depending on the angle. Gym harassment is a very real problem, and faking it trivializes the real thing and makes it harder for people to take actual incidents seriously. It also continues to fuel a divide between men and women by creating outrage, and it just sows blame among each other.
So you're upset that this man comes into the studio while you're filming yourself practicing posing. Well, this studio is meant for group classes, and when it's not being used for that, it's for everybody.
Then there's the fake nice guy persona. Everyone's seen it. People build a following by pretending to be humble or positive role models, up until some DMs leak or they get exposed, and suddenly there's a crazy switch up. These personalities are carefully engineered to seem trustworthy or relatable, but the second the mask slips, you realize it was just branding. In a lot of cases, their persona is less about helping others and more about hiding behind a character for profit. And it works because people want to believe in someone. They want a fitness creator who seems real. So when someone fakes that, it's not just annoying, it's actively damaging, and it lets people down looking to these role models. It breaks trust in the entire space. And these creators aren't just lying about what they lift or how they eat. They're lying about who they are, which can be so much worse. Along with this, tangentially, there's kind of been a Mr. Beastification a bit on some sides of this, and you can feel about that however you want, but it's definitely a departure from form. There's elements of false advertising in there, even if it's not as big of a deal, because clickbait is on YouTube, will be on YouTube. It is what it is. Closing. Why I still care about fitness. At the end of the day, I don't want this video to come off as a bitter takedown of the entire fitness industry, because there are great aspects, and I have a lot of love for this space. Lifting has done so much for me mentally, physically, and socially, and I know it's changed a lot of your lives too. But that's why talking about all of this matters. The problem isn't that people are making money in the space. I think it's great that people can earn a living doing what they're passionate about. The problem arises when so many people are doing it by lying, manipulating, or faking their way to the industry at the expense of people who are just trying to better themselves. But not everything is broken. There are still great creators, communities, and information that's out there. You just have to be a little more critical, a little more skeptical, and a lot more aware of how these platforms and people can operate. You might ask, how can I spot a good creator from a bad one? I think the biggest thing is transparency. Whether it's about PED use, programming, or just general honesty, pay attention. Pay attention to how they respond to criticism. If somebody can't admit when they're wrong or they deflect, they're probably not someone worth following for fitness advice. Nobody knows everything. Avoid people selling magic solutions. If it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. See how they engage with other people. If they interact with the community, or whether every single thing they do is monetizable. The industry only stays broken if we keep rewarding the worst parts of it. So, support the good creators. Call out bullshit when you see it. And most importantly, keep lifting for the right reasons. If you made it all the way through the video, thanks for watching. Let me know what you think in the comments and subscribe to the channel if you're new and enjoy these deep dives into different subjects. Also, do you even lift?
You even get people saying like Arnold, he never did steroids. What are you talking about?